Rise, Meg.
The Force will be with you.
Hello my dear friends and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. In today's video we're going to be exploring a topic which hasn't been spoken about enough. The important and surprisingly huge connection between Grogu, also known by casuals as Baby Yoda, and Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One himself. Parallels between the two have indeed been made in the past, especially when it was revealed that they were both born in the same year, 41 BBY. But there are so many more important connections that need to be focused on, especially since we know a lot more about Grogu after The Mandalorian Season 2, hence why I made this video. This one is based upon the premise that The Mandalorian Season 3 is going to explore the connection between the two characters in much more depth, and that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have already started sowing the seeds of this link in Season 2. So without any more jibber jabber, let's begin. We're going to start by examining a brief moment in Season 2 of The Mandalorian, which many casual viewers probably didn't think twice about, but one that I know for certain many avid viewers noticed. In Chapter 14, The Tragedy, when Grogu is placed upon the Seeing Stone on Tython, we see blue butterflies around him. Grogu engages with these before the scene moves on. He tried to catch a few blue butterflies as he got settled on the Seeing Stone. They seemed to disappear without consequence, but there is a very good reason that they were included in this episode, and the meaning behind them is pretty deep and connects Grogu to Anakin and the Force at large. In Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, issue number 8, these exact same butterflies appeared during a meditation panel. During a panel of Darth Vader meditating, the butterflies are not in any physical form. Then, in the next panel of the comic, it's revealed that the reader was seeing an out-of-body Force meditation moment. Vader in his physical form was fully present. However, in The Mandalorian, Grogu sees and interacts with what seemingly looks like real butterflies. What they mean or represent was not elaborated upon in the Disney gallery for Season 2, but many fans assumed that the butterflies were the light side of the Force, which were also reaching out to the good within Vader in the comic. The major contrast of the dark red surroundings of Vader's meditation to the bright blue insects makes that theory almost believable. There's also the fact that Vader during this comic run is seen soon after Revenge of the Sith, and Skywalker would still be struggling with blocking out the light side within him. If these butterflies are representative of the light side of the Force, the logic holds up in The Mandalorian as well. Soon after Grogu meditates, we see the Force field surrounding him, where he fully embraced the light side of the Force, rather than trying to drown them out with darkness just like Vader did in the comics. There is a clear parallel, or rather dichotomy, that is being created here between Grogu and Vader. One is embracing the light and the other is shunning it. So the real question is, why would Lucasfilm include this link in a show where Vader is long gone and Anakin was redeemed 5 whole years ago? We'll come back to this exact question in a little while, but let's look at more parallels first. I also just wanted to add on this point that the butterflies are also linked to Vader's grandson, Ben Solo. These same butterflies were also featured in a few episodes of the children's show Star Wars Rollout titled Ben Solo and the Bug Hunters, Chapters 1 and 2. During Chapter 1, Han Solo and Chewbacca get lured by the fluorescent insects and trapped by their enemies. In Chapter 2, Ben Solo finds the enemy's large stash of butterflies, rides on top of a swarm of them, and frees his dad and Chewie. But back to Grogu and Anakin. It's time to talk about the circumstances of the year that they were born in. Why would Lucasfilm have two beloved characters be born in the same year unless it was to connect them in some way? But the circumstances of their births were very different. Or were they? While we don't know much about Grogu's backstory, we do know about Anakin's. The former slave boy from Tatooine had no biological father. But in recent years, it's been confirmed that Palpatine himself had created Anakin by manipulating the midichlorians to form an ultra-powerful Force sensitive in the womb of Shmi. Another piece of crazy speculation is what if Palpatine, or even Plagueis, had done the same thing to a female Yoda species, maybe even Master Yaddle, and therefore Grogu himself was the product of the same Force-related manipulation as Anakin. After all, there would be a very good reason why Palpatine would want to do this. He knew Master Yoda was of a species where all known members were highly Force sensitive. Even the man behind Yoda himself, Frank Oz, once admitted that the Yoda species could very well have been the original Jedi before they taught others of how to access the Force. But why would Palpatine do this? Was Grogu a potential backup apprentice? Now don't worry, I'm not going to propose that Anakin and Grogu are part of a Force dyad, because that is one aspect of the sequels that so many people seem to despise. But I won't rule it out entirely, let's just leave it aside for now. Another aspect that we need to consider when drawing parallels between Anakin and Grogu is the poetry behind their backstories. In other words, what George Lucas would call making the story rhyme. There's a very good possibility that Lucasfilm will tie Grogu to Anakin in some way on the basis of too many coincidences that they themselves set up from the start. Let us take a look at two strands that make such a connection poetic. The first one concerns Luke Skywalker. Luke was trained by Master Yoda and later would train a Padawan of the same species who was born in the same year as his father Anakin. With Anakin now a Force ghost, things would come full circle in Season 3, and we could even potentially get a cameo of Anakin's Force ghost instructing Grogu. The second strand concerns Palpatine. If we go along with the theory that Palpatine created Grogu or had a hand in his creation, then it goes as follows. Palpatine created Grogu and later, after his death, Grogu's blood would be used to bring him back to life. It's like poetry, it rhymes, as Mr. Lucas would say. There just seems to be too many coincidences for Lucasfilm to avoid. I do strongly believe we're going to be shown the connection between the two characters in the next season, probably in the form of flashbacks. And this brings me on to my next point. Anakin might have been the one who saved Grogu during Order 66. Now, I'm certainly not the first person to propose this theory, but it is worth examining nonetheless. Going back to the parallels between the two characters, at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant during the prequels, Anakin might have been aware of Grogu. Whether he knew that he had a deeper birth connection to him or not is unknown, but it's entirely possible that when Anakin went to the Jedi Temple, he could have been the one who spared Grogu's life, either because he was told to by Palpatine or because newly anointed Vader sensed that he was different to other younglings and had the potential to become a great dark side Force user. As of this point, very little is known about how Grogu got to where he did in The Mandalorian, but hopefully the upcoming seasons of the show or even the Kenobi series can shed light on his journey from surviving the Jedi Purge in Revenge of the Sith to ending up on Navarro in The Mandalorian and the true nature of the connection between him and Anakin Skywalker. So what do you guys think of this connection between the two characters? I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to give me a big fat like, subscribe if you're new, check out my other content, and also consider going over to Patreon, where for just $2 or $10 a month you get exclusive access to content that is not found here on this platform. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.